Hello and welcome on the Barricades. This is another edition of our show where, as usual, we are going to be discussing the nuances of Eastern European politics. Today, we're going to be discussing it with Adriel or Adriel. I should have asked you before.
Well, in Polish it's Adrian. In English, Anglified version of my name is Adriel. So you can just.
All right, so let's stick with that. So Adriel Casonte is here with us. Adriel is the founder of AF Consultancy, and he's also a foreign affairs analyst whose work I follow, especially when it comes to to the points that you're making about Eastern Europe. And let's begin with Poland, Adriel, today, okay? Because it's the 7th of June today, and 3 days ago on the 4th of June, we had this great demonstration, a huge march, with a lot of triumphalism accompanying the march itself, and also the comments that have been made since then. You can see what kind of hype has flooded Twitter, Facebook, all other, as I like to refer to them, anti-social media and Western media. That's, I come to think actually that this march had more of a purpose like outside Poland. I mean, for, the audiences outside Poland rather than for domestic, consumers of news. And I wonder, what is wrong? And if you can help me figure out this attitude on the part of the West, what is the problem? Why can't the West just admit that the people whom they prefer in Poland, whom they like more in Poland, that is Donald Tusk, the former president of the European Council, and his party, the Civic Platform, and, the entire so-called civic society, which means all kinds of non-governmental organizations and the media syndicate linked to the TVN station, which belongs to the American Discovery Corporation or whatever they are called now, or, the poor, cheap copy of New York Times, Gazeta Wyborcza, as I like to refer to them as well. So what is the problem? Why can't they just admit that in 2015 they were defeated? And why don't they come up with a new strategy, based on the recognition, the acknowledgement of the defeat? This is how normally politics should work, right? We were defeated, so we reorganize, we get rid of the old leaders, we develop new strategies, we clearly communicate to our voters, to our base, we failed you, we're sorry about that, now we have rethought everything, and the future is going to be ours, here is the new platform. None of this has happened. They seem to behave as if they reject to recognize the results of the election from 2015 and all the subsequent elections. And the international media keeps clapping, keeps saying, that's great. This is exactly how you should go about it. This was just a strange incident. We don't know how come that Law and Justice, this bad populist, fascist, dictatorial party, has taken power in Poland. We have no idea how come they've won the next 7 elections since 2015, right? And now this March, I'm sorry, 300,000, 500,000, maybe even a million. 1 million, times zero substance remains zero. Your take, Adrian.
Oh, well, thank you. First of all, thank you for having me in your show. And thank you for asking me this very crucial question, because I think that many people like we do is wondering why it is happening. First of all, I would like to pin this in the time frame. We know that several days ago, Andrzej Duda was inspired by the Law and Justice Party in order to push the law called the Lex Tusk. Same as with the same was true with the Lex TVN. So he attacked a leader of the opposition. Obviously, Mr. Tusk is the favorite political actor on the left, or whatever you call it, a neoliberal spectrum in Poland. And they had to do something in order to push back against this narrative and the attempt to attack their favorite opponent of the Law and Justice Party. So although that the the embassy of the United States in Poland made outrageous comments, which showed that they are interfering in the internal affairs of the country, that the ambassador should be compliant with the law of the country instead of interfering in the internal affairs, which is the case also in Hungary, because they do not like the Fidesz party or Viktor Orban.
Which is also the case in Bulgaria, by the way. So let me interrupt you. Perhaps we're going to talk about it later. Yeah.
Yes, of course. I mean, I will move back to it. But what I'm trying to say is that they had to show to the world, not to the domestic consumer and the audience, that the law and justice attack the democratic institutions in Poland, and they attack the opponent in this country, which is who is Donald Tusk. So they came up with this manifestation, a huge manifestation that blocked several streets in Warsaw. The communication was non-existent. None of my friends were able to communicate. I mean, commute from one place to another. But the huge show to the international audience was a success, because it was largely covered in BBC, The Guardian. The Guardian is the holy grail of the neoliberal left in the Western world, or English-speaking world. So the Guardian, printed several articles and commentaries about how the opposition is pushing back against the fascist movement in Poland, and that was the purpose of this manifestation, regardless of the numbers, was to show that you have to recognize that if you step into the territory of the neoliberal left, and you will try to move a little bit further with your politics, we will punish you. And the punishment is the international outrage, because we have to understand the Eastern or Central European psyche. We do not care what our friends or neighbors, say about the politics. We do care what the Germans say. We do care about what the Americans say. And I remember from the early days when my father is British, so we were, several friends from United States or United Kingdom were visiting us when we were living in Poland. And the first question of my grandmother, the mother of my mother, was like, what is your opinion about our politics? She was not, she was curious about the general perception in the West, how the people perceive us and our political system and our march towards democracy. So I think that this is this inferiority complex, that's one, and two, a show of power. But although I'm not trying to whitewash what Law and Justice Party is doing or done, I'm just quite upset with the fact that whenever opposition is attacked in this country, in Poland, they are like running like a spoiled brat abroad in order to say like, look, they are attacking us. You have to do something. We need their help. So they are like, they are defenseless on their own turf, on their own ground. They do not have any idea or strategy how to counterattack attacks from the opposition. So this is neocolonial mindset. I mean, like we are observing multipolar processes in Africa, in Latin America, in Asia, people who were, colonized by the West, and they are more self-aware, and they have much greater capability to push back against this neocolonial tactics than people in Central Europe. So this is like ridiculous. I mean, we are semi-advanced democracy, and we still behave, as people who cannot, arrange or manage our own political system and our own civil society, which is really, really.
It's like we want to be dependent, right? Like we have to be dependent because when we're right.
Yeah, the Bismarck. If I'm correct, it was Bismarck who said that let Poles to be ruled by themselves and they will destroy themselves. It's a loosey quote, but it's like that. Poland was occupied or under certain supervision. Like you have to supervise Poland in order to move forward and this civilization movement, like whether it is under French, whether it is Austro-Hungarian, whether Germans, and our favorite is America. I mean, Kościuszko narrative and ethos of Kościuszko. Yes, they love it. They would love to be a next member state of the United States Union. We would love to be
They almost
America.
are.
We almost are. I mean, we are. I mean, we without the incentives of being a member of the United States, right? I mean, we are dependent without the incentives. So we have
exactly. We don't get the benefits. We only bear the costs.
Never,
right?
never.
Yeah. But okay, let's just focus a little bit on that. March and this great demonstration. I really come to think that it has more to do with the kind of outside pressure that can be put on the Polish government, that they imagine can be successfully put on the Polish government, whether in fact the Polish government seems to be rather insulated from foreign pressure. I mean, of course, there are certain things, there are certain matters where they're going to bow. And of course, if the Americans are really interested in them not doing something, then of course they can exert successful pressure. But they've had this kind of conflicts, I would say mid-level intensity conflicts with the American embassy already. You mentioned Lex TVN, which is a law, a bill basically that they suggested some time ago, where the TVN, that is the American television for the Poles, for the Polish, that's how you should describe it, I think.
Yeah.
It was going to pay more taxes, or it was going to be subjugated to some kind of stricter procedures or something like that. And the hysteria was horrible. I mean, they made people feel like they're really shutting down free media or something like that. Anyway, let's just go back to this. March. So okay, they've had it, and in my opinion, what happened is they demonstrated what everyone knows, and everyone should know in the West as well, if they paid attention for at least 5 minutes to how things are developing in Poland, which means the civic platform is supported by many people. We know that.
Yeah.
And the civic platform obviously has structures. They can rent buses, they can bring those people there. The problem is that the civic platform and the satellite parties around it, they form the so-called civic coalition now, I think it's called.
Yeah.
So the civic coalition has no idea and no understanding what they can possibly do in order to actually gain majority and be a better candidate. They have no idea. Why is that they don't have idea? My explanation, and I wonder what your take on that would be. My explanation is they don't understand that the political struggle between law and justice and the other parties is that law and justice does not, as they like to explain, buy people, corrupt people with their social, the social measures that they are introducing. And they are introducing some social measures, which I think is actually healthy for the economy and for the society. But this is only the currency. What they are actually trading is respect and dignity, because at every occasion, what they are saying when they increase the social measures, or when they introduce new social measures, they say, you deserve it. You are entitled to this. You should be taken care of. And, for the majority of the Polish society, especially those who live outside the big urban centers, it's a breath of fresh air, because until now they will look down at and go like, oh, you are, they have this Polish word ciemnogród, like, you're backward people, you don't know languages, you don't travel abroad, you're not cosmopolitan, you go to church, moherowe berety, the kind of the berets that old ladies wear to the church, they became also a symbol of backwardness or something like that. And now the table has turned because of this huge switch of the narrative. And this is something Donald Tusk cannot grasp, cannot wrap his head around, because it was agreed to one extent or another. Like, I'm not saying that they signed documents, but it was agreed in 1989 that democracy is going to be fake. I mean, we are going to flirt with the people every now and then, but we're not going to really make them a player in our game. Yet Law and Justice, because they had no other option to base themselves on, they had to flirt with the people in a more successful, more profound manner, and they did bring them into the public sphere. And now, Donald Tusk is helpless, and they really do things which are completely counterproductive. At every turn, when the opposition, you said it yourself, right? The government attacks the opposition or does something the opposition doesn't like, they run to the European Parliament and they beg for 10 resolutions because, oh my God, as if anyone cares here. for the 10th or 11th resolution of the European Parliament, as if Russia cares for the 11th sanctions package or something like that. So there is something in the West which I'd like you to help me understand. Like, it's not so difficult. If I can understand it, if you can understand it, then some people in the Western establishment should be able to understand it as well. Why cannot they prevail? And why is it that they cannot just adopt new strategies? Is it ideological obsession?
It is ideological obsession. It is linked to neoliberalism. I mean, why we had in the past the emergence of Jeremy Corbyn on the far left in the UK and the emergence of Nigel Farage. Why we had Bernie Sanders in the United States and Donald Trump. I mean, people are fed up with the center. They are fed up with the neoliberalism. I mean, this is the topic that I was studying, and this repetition of elitism, because the neoliberalism is an elitist idea. The elitist idea, which is crafted in the the armchair generals who are dissociated from the general masses, or deplorables, as they coin it in the United States. You are deplorable. You are not traveling. You are not well cultured. You don't speak languages. You don't have several degrees. You don't have PhDs. You are a lesser.
You're probably racist.
Yeah. You're probably racist. Although you are not racist, and those who are highly educated are more racist than those from the lower classes. But this is a separate topic. Is this Einsteinian idea of repeating over and over again the same thing with a hope of getting a different result is a madness. But we know that this is a madness which led United States to the the empire is crushing. We know this. The empire of Great Britain is crushing. I mean, everyone is just putting a lipstick on the global Britain, and the new marketing campaign is being pushed that we are we're doing well. But if you look at the statistics, at the economy, at the inflation, the rate of recession, the crises, the people who are using food banks in the United Kingdom, this is not a first world country. It looks like a so-called third world country. People are the wealth is diminishing, and they are trying to implement the same thing. And they have this advantage that we have to admit it, that Poland is slightly behind Great Britain, the United States, and other Western developed countries, so they can afford this few years of having prosperity, and then we will have crush. But the only difference is that Poland didn't have colonies, so now they have a new colony, Ukraine, right? I mean, we are outsourcing everything. We are sending our companies in order to rebuild Ukraine. We are absorbing Ukrainians in order to raise our GDP and and play with the demographics, because we know that all over the world, Chinese, I mean, in
and with
Japan,
the consumption rate, by the way, which is most ridiculous. They said consumption hasn't fallen, everything is okay. Well, import another 5 million Ukrainians and we'll see how the consumption.
I mean, yes, I mean, you go to the TV and the average Joe will say like, "Oh, wow, whoa, yeah, this is cool," right? And after 1 year, it will be like, oh, I thought it was different. So going back to your question, it is a madness. It is a madness, and they don't have any other idea. So the other idea is to curb your civil liberties, as they do in the European Union. If you are not allowed to consume a broad media spectrum, you are not allowed to consume information from different sources, because they perceive you as a backward person, that you are not allowed to process the information with your own mind, with your own human capabilities, and choose the right thing. So they want to give you everything on the silver platter, so you don't have to think. Everything will be given. Just follow. And this is the transcript is is from the European Union, from the United States, from liberal parties. And I think that Jarosław Kaczynski is better at it, because he's not detached from the regular Joes, like average people struggle. So he used that knowledge and ability. I mean, Lech Kaczynski was perfect in that. He was like, I remember attending one of the lectures of the very famous sociologist here in Poland. Jadwiga Staniszkis, and she was a huge supporter of Lech Kaczynski, that he is down with the people. Like in the United Kingdom, you could call him a Disraeli. You know, the Disraeli wanted to mix the elitist class and the lower class and create one nation conservatism. And Lech Kaczynski was, you know, this. Let me, you know, draw this analogy: Polish Disraeli. But Jarosław Kaczynski is half. You know, he's slightly like his brother, but he's not. And he's trying to, it's really difficult to be a Poland, being between this, you know, competing powers in Brussels, in the United States, and you know, have your own space to flourish and implement certain ideas. So answering your question, yes, Jarosław Kaczynski is better at it, because he's not only betting on one sector of the society, you know, highly skilled youth from the capital city and from the other big cities in Poland, Krakow, Gdańsk, whatever, Wrocław, etc., etc. So he's trying to engage the entire society rather than just a fracture of the society. But this is the same script can be seen in other countries, in the United States, in Britain. The elitist parties like Law and Justice, Platforma Obywatelska or whatever, they are trying to engage only those who are the rightful people who are rightfully entitled to have a say. Others don't have a say.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
You know,
that's a very good point, Adriel, because you know, the problem is that civic platform and the establishment around Gazeta Wyborcza, around TVN, around you know, those neoliberal circles, the neoliberal bubble, let's put it that way, right? They feel they are absolutely entitled to power. You know, and this is they have this feeling that their legend, the Solidarność trade union, the, you know, revolution, more of a counter-revolution really for me than anything. But, you know, they feel that this history, you know, provides them with kind of carte blanche to rule until the end of times. And now suddenly some people, and they even refer to them like that. They refer to them in a very vulgar manner. They go like, these people from the villages, these backward, you know, and I'm not going to, you know, throw in vulgar real vulgar words here. But, you know, and you see actors, you know, influencers, so-called, you know, from various social media networks. You see, well, representatives of the Polish high society going out and really spitting in the face of their own compatriots for having voted for Law and Justice, or for having understood the arguments that stand behind other people voting for Law and Justice. You know, it's amazing how they are completely detached from the majority of the society. And I'm talking majority because, although, you know, I don't really have any statistics here, but there is more small towns and villages, okay, than big cities. It's obvious. It's all over the world is like that. And, you know, it's really, if you're sincere about, you know, your democratic aspirations, you should be able to understand that pretty simple factor, don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. I agree with you. But this is this entitlement. I mean, there is no logic in that. And there's, like, you know, the concept in the political science called a cartel theory party. So you have a cartel party which is using a means of the country in order to sustain itself without providing a program would be accepted by the broad spectrum of the society. So this is, you know, cartel party theory applies to a Platforma Obywatelska. They feel entitled, and this is madness. Absolutely, it's absolute madness. But this shows also disregard for other people. So this is a warning sign for the society at large, that either you are a party which is trying to somehow bring together everyone and move forward as a one country, as one nation. I don't like using this nation. I don't want to be labeled as a nationalist, but you move as a one nation. Like you have different shades of the society and you accept this. But they want to completely erase other shades which are not compliant with their vision. So this is, this is utopian. This is Thomas More utopia. Like, we won't only have, like, blonde hair, blue-eyed people who will, be in this country. It's almost fascistic. It's fascism. Like, I don't like you. You look different. I don't accept your worldview. You are not, skiing in Switzerland. You are not going to Bahamas.
You go to church. You're against abortion.
You go to church. And this is also this. The religion also plays a huge part, even in the United States. Like, they playing with this religion. So whenever you show an inclination in being religious, not like over religious, like, you are going there and, screaming with a cross and saying like, oh, you are possessed or whatever. You just simply accept the fact that perhaps you need a religion in your life. Perhaps you need to go to the church, to the mosque, or to the synagogue, whatever. This is your business. But whenever this opposition, neoliberal opposition, sees this, they are using this against you. Like, you are backward because you don't believe in science. You only believe in, I don't know, in God or religion. So you have to be stigmatized. So it's stigma. You are lesser. So I will not even have an argument with you, or rightful argument with you, or conversation, because you are, at the beginning you are already, dismissed as someone who is not worth of my time. So it's hugely divisive for the society, and it will backfire. It will backfire in 2024 when the European Union will have these elections to European Parliament, because we know that the right-wing parties or whatever in Italy, in Germany, AfD, in Austria will emerge because they feel appreciated. As you said, they feel appreciated and acknowledged and noticed. Oh, this is the best word. They are noticing us. Hello, I'm here. I'm here. I'm existing. I'm a part of this country, of this society, and at least this is the minimum that you can acknowledge the existence of the sector of the society, which it's not done by the opposition, neoliberal opposition all over the world, and in Poland including. So it is, if they are not able or eager to do the minimum for other sectors of the society, in my opinion, they shouldn't be in power, because this is a threat to the whole society. So
and by the way, I think it's important to also stress on the point that you made, which I think is a great point, that it's almost fascistic, you said. And I really have this thought, and I have the same observation that I don't like to throw around the F word a lot, because it's being used and abused, but when you look at the reactions of the of the core of the public opinions, or of the core of that parts of the public opinion which support this camp or that camp, although it's more like a church now than a camp, like it's really, the Church of Law and Justice and the Church of Donald Tusk, right? So when you see the reactions to what the other side is doing, then on both sides it's very aggressive. But on the side of the people supporting law, the civic platform, Donald Tusk, Gazeta Wyborcza, TVN, and so on and so forth, there's more aggression, more frustration, more vulgarity, more obscenity, more kind of, that's why I come to think that they are more of kind of fascistic patricians, really, than the law and justice itself, which is, again, you said it, and I think we should stress again on that. Like, we don't support law and justice. We're not in that camp. It's not our favorite government by any stretch, okay? But I think we want to be fair. Let's be fair. The truth is going to set you free, okay? I mean, fooling around and just repeating or shouting like in a crazy manner, law and justice, fascist, law and justice, dictatorial, law and justice will end our democracy. It reminds me of those people in the United States, where they were outvoting, I think, some kind of puberty blockers or something for minors, right? And then there was this lady in Nebraska, I think, or I can't remember where exactly, sorry, but she was shouting for like 3 minutes, "We need trans people, we love trans people," all the rest of it. And it's the same it's the same craze, what I'm trying, regardless of what you think about trans rights and stuff like that. I'm just saying that the reaction is completely unhinged. And after 8 years of defeat after defeat, they have still not learned their lesson. I mean, and the people abroad, the Guardians, the Wall Street journals, all those organizations and media centers and power centers supporting the neoliberal opposition, they have not learned the lesson either. And it's not such a big deal. I mean, Law and Justice, they are not really those masters of political communication. I mean, they also are very ignorant and limited in many aspects. Okay, so if you cannot, it shouldn't be such a big deal to actually confront them, right? So I come back to this question because it really bothers me. Kind of, what is wrong with those people? Okay, I mean, our people are unhinged. They get crazy by the day because of Law and Justice still prevailing. But then, people looking at it from like 3,000-4,000 kilometers in a straight line, be it in London, in Paris, or in Berlin, 500 kilometers in a straight line from Warsaw. So they don't understand either. They cannot just, whisper to Donald Tusk's ear going like, hey, maybe you want to rethink your strategy a little bit, maybe this way or that way.
I mean, I think that, this is quite convenient. I mean, they don't have to think because they never had to think. So their strategy is simple. If you are an adult and you are playing at football with a 5-year-old kid, you are not, implementing all of your, skills, football skills or sports skills or whatever. And if they perceive a society as a backward and whatever, they use a very simple technique to dismiss it. If, for instance, Law and Justice Party is winning in Poland or Fidesz is winning in Hungary, this must be an incursion from China or Russia. So it's simple. It shuts the conversation. You don't have to, elaborate. You don't have to, talk. You don't have to do anything. It's like we are simple. Like, society at large is simple when it's bombarded with the psyopsis, like psychological mass, information tactics. So for us, it's like, just a buzzword, like, okay, disinformation, inclusion, whatever, etc., etc. So it's easy to manage. And on the other hand, going back to your question, it's like when you're in Wall Street Journal, The Guardian, or whatever, you are a new aristocracy. You are writing something, and everyone is reading all over the world. Like even in Poland, if you are working for Puls Biznesu, Gazeta Wyborcza, Rzeczpospolita, as a journalist, the first day in the morning, what you are doing, you are just scrolling down what has been written in foreign media outlets. So you are not, you are not creating a new information. You are just redigesting an information that has been crafted by someone else. So, there's no space for creativity. There's no space for your own opinions. You have to be in this, frame, neoliberal frame. Like if you are perceived as someone who is just, going against the crowd, you're just, you're perceived as an enemy of the society, because we want to be accepted, included by the international multi-government or corporate organizations, not by our own society. Once we have a tap on the shoulder by the foreigners, we are good. If we are not getting this tap on the shoulder, we are bad. And this is the whole game of this so-called quasi-democracy in Central Europe or in Poland specifically. So it's going down to
okay,
this.
last question, April, because we got to finish. So now, elections are coming in October, if they actually happen, because of course the democratic opposition speculates that they're not going to happen, they're not going to occur. And fact of the matter is that if things, change in some kind of drastic manner on the fronts of the Ukrainian war, then certain, civic liberties could be suspended in Poland. There is a certain possibility of such a prospect playing itself out. But this would not be because Law and Justice is fascist and dictatorial, but it would be because it would be convenient for them to perhaps extend their term. But let's assume things are going to go as the Constitution lays it out, which means we're going to have elections in October. I think that after Law and Justice has recently come up with a kind of increase to all the social benefits they've introduced. Plus, they want to make, highways free, and there are many other things that they want to, like sort of public services that they want to make more accessible economically to people. Despite the fact that we have this 500,000 or like 600,000, 300,000, there's a lot of speculation how many people really attended this demo on last Sunday. There is no movement in the in the polls. I mean, they remain the same. Like, 20-something% for Platforma Obywatelska, Civic Platform, 30-something% for Law and Justice. This is how it has been for the last 10 years almost. So, if we consider the possibility, which we should, because it's a real possibility, that Law and Justice is going to win the next round of parliamentary elections in Poland, then I wonder, are they, can you even start thinking of the intensity of the meltdown that's going to occur on the part of all the Guardians and Wall Street journals and the Gazeta Wyborcza? Can you, because my fantasy is too poor. I just we haven't really started yet the official campaign in Poland, and what I can see already is just so aesthetically disgusting and politically bad that I think it's going to be really comical and tragic at the same time.
It will be, but they are already preparing the society for this possibility. They're already writing in Politico, which is, the Brussels mouthpiece. In Politico, they are already preparing their readers for a re-emergence of Austro-Hungarian Empire. And the Ukraine will be, destroyed by the Austro-Hungarian Empire. In Slovakia, what is happening in Slovakia? The Putin-friendly, politicians probably will gain power, and in Poland the same. The narrative will be the same. The fascism is re-emerging. I mean, why Wall Street Journal is already and The Economist already preparing Europe? They are preparing Europe, the left-leaning neoliberal Europe, for Donald Trump being again in power in the United States. So they already know that this is the possibility, but they will still try to push their same old song, that the fascism is taking over the world, and the narrative is like in storytelling, the hero narrative. We have been defeated, and now we have to re-emerge from the darkness and lead the whole nation to the light and save them from us. I mean, from
us, exactly.
So this is this political fairy tale. But the society is suffering because we are divided, even in our own families, in our own friend circles. Like, you say something. I mean, someone for 10 or 20 years and say something about politics, and people deleting you from Facebook. I mean, how dumb is that?
Let's not go into that, because what happened over the last year with the war in Ukraine, I've lost so many friends, quote unquote, that I don't even want to go into that because it's personally difficult for me.
Yeah, it is. But this is how they they used our our human behavior and cognition against each other. So we are not able to transcend the political divisions and the messages that has been sent by the corporations and the operatives called politicians, but they are working for the corporations. I mean, the corporations are getting money when we are fighting with one another. So this is how it goes, unfortunately.
Right. Okay. Thank you very much, Adriel, for your participation in today's show. Thank you very much for your insights and observations. I hope to see you again soon, and I hope to see our viewers and listeners again on the Barricades sometime soon. Thank you very much. Have a great day.
Thank you. Likewise.